Hello and welcome back to Creampuff Plays Project Ozone 3. Today we're going to work on some astral sorcery, some storage solutions, and we're going to build a new building. So let's crack on. I'll tell you what, I would love it if that sounded as good as I thought it did. The thing is though, I saw my microphone peaking, so it probably sounds awful. Right. I've done so much off camera, so much in this episode, before this episode. So, first of all, let's go and have a look at our gigantic tower of awesomeness. I've finished it up, mostly. There's a few ceilings that are missing. I've added some extra bits, so instead of being these, I made them L shapes instead of being basically these two wide things. It just gives the whole building a little bit of better balance. This whole building causes quite a bit of lag, as you can probably feel as I fly around. So if I go up it, we can have a bit of a look. I have plant gatherers. Each, I shouldn't be drinking carbonated drinks while I play. Each section is a 3x3. There are fluids, redstone, and emeralds. I didn't even realize I had emerald seeds. And over here we have nether quartz, glowstone, gold, and copper. Bronze. And then as we go up, we've got more here, more on this floor, and more on this floor, and plenty of room. And more on this floor, and plenty of room for expansion. Now, the way I have these set up down the bottom is they are all going to crafters. So these crafters have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have 8 spaces for crafting, which is helpful because I have 8 things on each floor. Man, the lag is hard on this level. I'm gonna have to set up phytogenic insulators because these buildings really lag me out. So each one is set up for 8. Most of them only have 4 on each one at this point. Oh yes, the dye. Oh, why are you getting dye essence? That shouldn't be getting dye essence. This is steel, dirt, and silicon. I think that's everything. I have them turned off for now. So these all go through into this, which is my ender chest, which is exporting rather slowly. Because I took the acceleration cards off. Right. So the way I've got this set up is that the first floor is set up to extract on the blue channel from both of these. And so that means that this first crafter is set up to insert on the blue channel, and everything is set to extract on green. Second lot is magenta, or purple. Third lot is cyan, and the fourth lot is light grey. I have an item filter set up, but I didn't need one. So my plan was I was going to stop any of the Inferium going through. So these are all of my plants that I don't want to craft anything with. So I've got wood seeds. I can craft them in my crafting system, and it'll give me different wood depending on how I craft it. Same with the nether seeds. I can use this in different ways to make soul sand or nether wart or whatever I need. Dye seeds, obviously I can make different dyes, and nature seeds I can make using different things. And this is all Inferium, so I don't want to craft that at all. So if I swing my way down here, so that very top floor is set to export on green, so this just goes straight into this. This is insert on green, these are all extract on green, and the, and the plant gatherers at the very top are set just to extract on green, so they skip past all of these crafters and go straight into this ender chest, which is set to green. And if you go into my little section over here, we will see that it is set up here. So everything goes in. If I actually put the acceleration cards in, this will clear out really, really quickly. I've had to turn it off a number of times because my storage is filling up very quickly. So I've completed that. So now we can have a look. 184,000 stone, 175,000 Inferium, heaps of silicon, dirt, glowstone, and dye essence. So, and the dye essence is ticking up as well. Beautiful. So I've completed that. So that is good. The next step. Hi, thanks. The next step is going to be obviously completing all of the rest of the seeds. This may or may not be enough for all of the seeds, but we'll adapt, improvise, and overcome. The second thing that I've done off camera is if we jump down here, I've expanded out this area here. So I've kind of built this out. So this is going to be like the laboratory. Don't want to show that yet. These are painted glowstone. So these emit light, which is really nice, but they look like these screens, which is great because I really like the look of these screens, but wanted them to do light or to give out light. I was originally going to make them out of chisel and bits and just put some glowstone behind them, but we lost this connected texture. So I really like that. One of the things we're going to be doing today is I'm going to transfer quite a lot of stuff into these, which is storage drawers. So I spent a little bit of time designing these storage drawers. What I like about what I've got here is I feel like that looks like it's being displayed on a screen, which works because all of these things are going to be connected up to the applied energistic system. So basically, I have a big row of these on either side. And they're going to be hooked up to the AE system, the brain of which, the basis of which is going to be here, with our auto crafting stuff set up over here on the sides. So I have a little station here set up for making them. And this is full of at least some of the things. So we need these framed drawers. We need these fuzzy laboratory box screens, some cyan, and some black concrete. So I've made a few. So hopefully today we might actually get this all hooked up. Now the reason I'm doing this is because if we make these emerald upgrades for the drawers, so they hold 32 stacks, okay? If I look up upgrade, this increases the storage to 32 times the base value. So I'm going to grab some of these. I feel like I need to turn my sound up. It's real low. That's better. If I take this, I don't think it'll tell me how much these can store, but if I shift right click U with an empty hand, there we go. Wow, this actually takes a lot. This can take a lot of upgrades. So, stack limit, it can take 7,168 stacks. So it's 7,168 times 64. Is that right? Let me do some calculations. If I'm reading this right, so stack limit, it's 7,168 stacks times 224 times 64 is 102 million. So I think that means that we might be able to store 102 million items in here. So obviously that's going to require a lot of upgrades, but that's okay because not everything's going to need 102 million upgrades. And that means that we will be able to store a lot more than we can store in our ME drives, which we have a lot of. These are all 16 and 64K drives. We can store a lot of stuff, but the problem with ME drives, as much as I love ME, this can only hold 63 types and 16,000 total items. Whereas one of these storage drawers, which keep in mind costs some sticks and a chest, can hold 102 million. So a little bit better, a little bit cheaper. And if my system goes down because of a lack of power or whatever reason, or if I accidentally destroy my ME controller again, I can easily get that back. I can easily just go down and still access all of my items. The other thing you'll probably notice is I went round and I've kind of built a quote-unquote road, and I've built some path on the side of it. I'm not 100% chuffed with it, but I'm thinking I might chisel and bits this down to like a half slab almost, or maybe like 3/4 of a slab, just so we got a bit of a lip. I think might look a little bit nicer, which I'll be doing. Right, what else? I've knocked all of this down. A big change that we're going to do actually, and something I might just go and do, is we're going to set up a mob spawning system over here. At the moment I have it set to coarse dirt. No, not the right word. Cursed earth. Which, no. That's old style. We're not going to do that. What we are going to do is, first of all, take this out. Hopefully, if I can do this right, we're going to set up spawning platforms using powered spawners from Ender.io. I've already made one off camera. So what we do is we take these broken spawners and we combine them with a powered spawner here in an anvil. So where are my other powered spawners? I made lots of them. At least I thought I did. I actually need to make one of these. So this is a soul binder, and I'll show you why I need to make this. So we take a soul binder. And I'll need a capacitor, thank you. Capacitoire. I'm making these silver capacitors because they're quite good and cheap. So that's good to go. It's getting power. Now, what I did do for my first spawner that I've made, I made this spawner changer. So that's why I have this set up over here, because I needed these empowered diamantine crystal blocks, which you make on the actual editions Empowerer. So what you do with this is you right-click a mob and then right-click a spawner, and it changes the spawner to that mob. And I thought that's how we had to change the spawners. So these spawners. So it can be combined with a powered spawner in an anvil to set the type. Now, turns out that's not the case. We have a pig spawner. Let's take a skeleton spawner. And let's take a soul vial. Now, one of these with a skeleton. We have a wither skeleton. I want a wither skeleton spawner. So what we can do is, if you take a soul vial, right-click a mob, you'll pick it up in the soul vial. And in this, we can click the soul vial and the spawner, use my XP, and it will very, very slowly, I mean really slowly, wasn't quite expecting that. So that will make us a wither skeleton spawner, which is a good thing. Now, my plan is each level of this is going to be a different spawner type. So if off camera as well, I've been trying really hard to make my pickaxe better. Alright, the problem that I've got is it only gets to this kind of instant mine level when I've been using it for a bit because of the cobalt momentum, what do you call it? The cobalt momentum modifier. So the longer you use it on the same block, the quicker it mines, which is great, but you need to do it for a while, and as soon as you stop doing it, it stops working. Now, I've got haste 3, and this is has a mining speed of 25, plus has hasteless on it. I was really hoping that that would get me the speed that I wanted, but apparently not. Oh, I vein mined half the building away. That's a bit of a worry. So, plan is we need to put the lid on this building. And of course, this wand is going to break as soon as I've placed down 3 blocks, especially when I do that. Okay, put the lid on this building, and then what I need to do is one, 2, 3, 4, and maybe go that level. Like that. Should be, actually, let's go 5. I want to put enough head height so that there's enough room for everything to spawn. So I'll put the spawner on the ground and then vector plates pushing everything to the middle. Plan is, I kind of like the idea of everything falling down in the middle here and being killed. And then all around here is going to be, I don't know, maybe storage. So I'm kind of inclined to go as with the mob masher. I don't really know if there's anything better than that. And I'm wondering whether or not an ender inhibitor. So it inhibits teleportation for entities up to 8 blocks away. Alright, because that will stop mobs. It will stop Endermen from teleporting away. So what I might do is I'll set up a spawning death platform about that big. So mobs will spawn on the floors. They'll come down a tube of death. And then, yeah, they'll fall down the tube of death, and there'll be 9 mob grinders down here. And I'm going to put a couple of absorption hoppers on each side. So that should be 1, 2, 3. Yep. That's annoying. So they work in a 7x7, the absorption hoppers. And that will be good because that will collect XP as well. So I could use the advanced item collectors, but then we lose any XP. So maybe I could put an absorption hopper maybe underneath collecting XP. Yeah, and I'll use advanced item collectors down here to collect everything from within here. And that will go off into a single kind of chest area. Yeah, that sounds like it will work. So let's build some floors and let's get crack-a-lackin'. Here's the look we've got. Big tunnel kind of throwing everyone down. And we will be taking these mob mashers. And I've just realized I've not made enough of these. because I basically need 90 of each one. But the mob mashers will sit actually in the floor, I think. And you know what? I kind of like this block. Kind of suits the kind of dark evil aesthetic in here. Mob mashers, and in each one, yeah, okay. So I made a whole heap of these upgrades. So I've got sharpness and looting and beheading for each one. So they'll be set up, and we're going to have glass on either side, so they'll come down and kind of fall into the glass. Thankfully, they're not running at the moment. This should be fine. That looks a little bit weird, but this is just basically going to mash them, which is the point. So most of them are going to fall. So I've got 9 of them. So basically, they each need to have 1 upgrade of each, which is not that great, really. Okay, upgrades in all of them. 1 tiny upgrade, but that's fine. Looting +1. And then we need to get our spawners. So the soul valve's empty. The broken spawner is now a wither skeleton spawner. And now if we make some powered spawners, which we already have 1 of, but we'll need 2, 3, 4, and that is it, because we're out of... Oh, for these, actually, for the powered spawners, we need to make the Z logic controller, which is in the slice and splice, silicon, solarium, zombie head, and redstone. Now, what I found out, if you stick the slice and splice somewhere, what's really good is you can actually just hopper in all the resources that you need. I had a hopper feeding in all of these, and they go into the right spot and just creates the Z logic controller. It doesn't actually take too much time, so I've actually got a lot of them now. Z logic controllers. I've got 27, which is quite a few. I don't think I'll need any more. If we take our anvil, take our powered spawner and our wither skeleton, 16, we'll be able to make our wither skeleton spawner. Whoa. Okay, so now we've got enderman wither skeleton. Next, we'll take our spawner and our skeleton spawner. We have a skeleton spawner, zombie spawner, and our... Oh. Why does this not work? Ah, there we go. Bam, zombie spawner. So now we have our 4 spawners. We're going to need capacitors for all of them. Capacitors for all of them. And I think that is it. Now, the last thing I needed was vector plates. And spectre coils to power these things. Now, there's a few... We need to do a little bit of testing to figure this out. So if I place the spawner here, let's just take... easy one, the zombie spawner. If I place the zombie spawner here, I'll put in the capacitor and then give it some power. I want to see how this spawns. So the range is... Yes, so that's what I was worried about. So the range is going to go into... actually, no, that's fine. We could bring it down a block. See how this spawns. Actually, that is perfectly fine. That works really, really well. Let's turn you off. You are using 160 RF per tick, which is fine, because you are getting 1,000, and you're going to go down that way. And that's fine because... Yeah, this will work. This will work. So... Although we can't have them all in the center, can we? So I think I'll put the Enderman and the Wither Skeletons down the bottom because I don't want them to fall from or die from fall damage. I'm starting to wonder whether or not this is the best option. Aesthetically, it's cool, but is it what we want? No, I think this will work. I just need to figure out how do I get them to spawn properly. Okay, so I think the way I've got these set up will work. If we have a look at the range... The range is still within these walls on all 4 sides. So they'll spawn here. The vectors will push them down through the middle and they will land here. So we're going to have glass coming up to the top. But this should be fine. I've put the Endermen and the Wither Skeletons down the bottom because I don't want them to die from fall damage. I want these to kill them. Don't really care too much about the skeletons and the zombie. So... what I might do actually is place the zombie one on this second level. Oh, the skeleton one, sorry. Onto this level. And then bring the zombie one down as well. In order to stop the mobs from spawning on top of the spawners, I'm thinking that having the Spectre Coil on the top will stop them. That's the hope. I will need some better Spectre Coils actually for the Wither and the Enderman spawner because they take more power than the 1024 that I can currently provide. So, Spectre Coils, get the fancy ones. Alright, they're upgraded to the fancy ones. So now they've got enough power. The only other thing I need to do is I need to be able to control these wirelessly with redstone. I need to be able to turn them on and off because if they're running all the time, they will produce lag. So RF tools, I'm probably not going to get to all the things I want to do in this episode, it would seem. RF tools will allow us to use redstone transmitter. Okay, so a redstone transmitter, redstone receiver. Do I do this janky or do I do it? Oh, let's go janky. Janky's fun. So, if I place this here and I put a redstone receiver behind here, right-click with another transmitter or receiver to pair. Place down to create a channel or else right-click on a receiver to use that channel. No, that's not going to work, is it? Because I want them all to be channel 1. What if I can do this? What if I can right-click on this with the receiver to set it to channel 1? Yes. Okay, so I need to right-click with them, on them with the receiver to set them to the channel that I want. Okay, good, good, good. Now, the downside to this is an on or off system. So maybe I might be better off setting them to different channels, but at the moment, set it up in this way. And all we need to do now is to set up the transmitter. So if I put a lever up here, then I'll be able to turn this on and off, which is perfect. All right, let's finish this up. So I've got it all done. My wonderful death rooms. So my hope, I think I just need to fix up a few of these. I think I stuffed up a couple of the vector plates. Yes, this one. This will just push them straight into a wall. And the last thing we want is for anything going wrong and entities getting stuck. So they're going to come straight down into here. I've adjusted this just a little bit. Beautiful. Lock that up. Good. So that's all good to go. The next thing we need to do is set up how we're going to collect the drops. So for that, we need you to die. I'm going to need a couple of these advanced collectors. Thank you. A couple of these advanced range collectors. Would use the absorption hopper, but I think these are probably better and produce less lag, which I'm very, very interested in. So some item collectors and make them advanced one. Beautiful. And then I'll get some diamond chests. I might just steal the one that we've already got. And then an ender chest. Should have... Nope, I don't. But that's fine. Ender chest. Bloop. What am I missing? Blaze rods. It's good. Thankfully, I've got plenty of those. I will need to make, I think, a blaze spawner at some point. And I also need some green dye to set this up. So, this is going to be chaotic, but I'm going to do it anyway. Good. Doesn't really bother me. And we need to make a loot bag opener as well, which I think we'll actually set up in this spot. I think that will be well worth it. So if we put a couple of chests here, and then we're going to set up... This is absolutely needless, okay? This is just because I really like symmetry. So we set you up there. We need some green dye. I'll set you to green, 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 which means set up to this chest. And then we take our collectors. And I'm pretty sure I can plonk you on top. Yes, I can. And plonk you on top. That's going to happen occasionally. So 5. If we set it to 8, I think that should mean I'm reaching... That should be 1, 2, 3. So radius is 8. Oh, radius is 8. Well, that's plenty. And the only other thing we need is an absorption hopper to pick up. Oh yeah, so this is already picked up literally all of the loot bags. Brilliant. So now we need some piping, some acceleration cards. So Ender IO items, item conduits, and some acceleration. What does the acceleration card look like? Forgotten. Alright, 10 extract speed upgrades will be very helpful, I think, in this. And this should get us nicely set up. It's already happening. So we go. Bring this across to here. Bring this across to here. This is going to be insert only and insert only. And this will be extract always active. And this will be extract always active. You know how it goes. Extract always active. I'm not sure how I stuffed that up. I must have turned it off. Yeah, extract always active. But it is not. Insert. Extract. Ah, it did work. Good. We need to put in 5 of those, which is way more than we need. This won't be that crazy, I don't think. What it will do is drain power big time. So, now if we switch this on, we can see that they all start going. And I'll just wait here for a little bit and start seeing the mobs drop. Yeah, that appears to be working. So what kind of drops are we getting? Oh, these will be going out so quickly you won't even see them. I have no idea how we're doing power-wise. Okay, that is draining it. 3,000 IU. Yep. So that's draining it quite quickly. Alright, so this mob system is going to drain everything pretty fast. Pretty fast. But that's fine. That was expected. So what I need to do actually is upgrade these magmatic dynamos, because they are only pumping out 120 RF per tick, and we've got, what's 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so 10, so that's 1,200. 2,400 is all we are making. And obviously we are draining a lot more than that. So I'll just go turn this off. Yes, this is the next problem I have to try and solve. Is that these buggers are the ones that are teleporting out of where I want them to. Alright, so let's try and make that final ender inhibitor. Up to 8 blocks away can be attached on any side. So what we need to do... is hook this up basically here. Don't like the look of that. Oh my god, that's been collected. That will stop Enderman from teleporting away. So this will still actually spawn and gather mob drops passively, which is actually one of my favorite parts about it. But I can change it to spawn exactly what I want when I want. So I got 56 with the skeleton skulls. Lovely. That pretty much works exactly how I wanted it to. But I think we're going to end it there today. Off camera, I'm going to upgrade my power system because I need to. See, we make enough power out of this. So all we need to do is look into the upgrades for these, which is what? Thermal. And look into the upgrades. I think we'll work on them off camera. So a resonant conversion kit. Basically takes Invar, which is fine, Electrum, which we can do, Signalum and Cryothium, and then Pyrotheum. I mean, I can already make quite a lot of Pyrotheum. Cryothium? That's the tricky one. So to make Cryothium, we need to inject Essence into Snowballs. Yep, looks that way. Inject Essence into Snowballs. Snowballs should be easy enough to make. He says, oh yeah, glacial precipitator. And then essence, well, it just turns out I've just made a mob grinder that's going to be making a lot. So, we're going to finish off there. Thanks very much for watching. and I'll see you in the next episode. We didn't really get through anything that I wanted to other than the mob grinder, but not bad. See you in the next episode of Grandpa Plays Project Ozone 3. Bye-bye.